of the Leisure World Friends Club and an advisor. And I think all of you know Sharon, but she'll be talking to you later, our librarian.
Go ahead.
And now the Incredible Edibles want to serve lunch, and then we'll have our introductions afterwards. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch. I want to thank Doris, who's on our Special Events Committee. Please stand, Doris. She makes all the arrangements for our luncheons and dinners and so on. Now y'all know who Doris is. And Incredible Edibles. Marcy, another great job. We have 3 very honored volunteers here today. They can no longer volunteer, but they have all been volunteers even when they had the bookmobile up in the marketplace and since the opening of the bookstore, because that's when I came here 11 years ago. And they were at it long before I came here. I would like to introduce them. They're at our honors table here. Celeste Krause, Jean Reeser, and Margie Crow. Margie with a smile. Now I'm going to introduce my right-hand friend, our Vice President, Sheila Pedersen. I'm going to ask Sheila to speak to the volunteers for just a minute, because she and her team are in charge of the schedule. You all know about that schedule.
Either get one of the subs, which we list on the schedule, or either call Kay. Irma Baldwin is really the one to call, or myself. Because otherwise you leave us with only one volunteer. And it just isn't right to have just one volunteer. So please, if you can't make it, if an emergency comes up, please let us know. We have 100 volunteers on our list, including 2 brand new ones. We average 26 days in each month, and that's 26 times 4 volunteers daily. So that means 100. So we use up all the volunteers we have, so it's very important that you contact us if you can't be there. All right? Now don't forget, this is your yearly salary, this lunch.
We do appreciate it if you trade with someone or get a sub, because one Tuesday we ended up with 1 sub and myself for morning and afternoon. So please, that is very important. That there are 8 subs on there now.
Just leave it.
And
Just
if
leave
you
it.
can
Thank you.
just get a sub, we'll appreciate it. And it's very difficult with just 2 people all day. Eileen Eric is our secretary, and also she's an advisor on Wednesday in the bookstore. Dottie Brown is our treasurer and the newspaper editor, and often other jobs I ask her to do. Our special events committee is Muriel Smith, Doris Kidd, Mary Masanaga. Would you 3 ladies please stand? They are responsible for the luncheons, teas, dinners, for the decorations, all the work that goes into it. It's usually a month or month and a half planning before it's held. And they get helpers. We have several helpers here. Now I want to mention our advisors, and so you can all know who they are, have them stand. Ruth Gavin is our advisor on Friday. Lyda Henson is our advisor on Monday. Now she's not here today. Guess where she is? In Hawaii. She was apologizing to me for not being there, and I said, well, I'll trade places with you. And Rose Bellring is the Tuesday advisor. Rose? She also subs. Have I mentioned all the advisors? Did I leave anybody out? Well, Sheila, she's everything. She's membership chair. It'll take all afternoon if I tell you all the things Sheila does. And then she'll be embarrassed. I know that you all know our librarian, Sharon. And Sharon, would you like to say a few words to the volunteers?
I've heard a couple of people that said, well, they really didn't know who that lady was that kept on running into the friends room in the back room. So I wore my name tag today, just in case you didn't know who I am. This is a real opportune time, with it being National Volunteer Month, and as far as we have this wonderful luncheon that we've had with our committee. You all contribute so much to the library. There's no way it could run as efficiently and as low cost without your help. I mean, you really make it happen. And you all deserve a major round of applause. So give yourself a round of applause. There are so many people behind the scenes, I don't want to leave anybody out, so I'm going to just say thank you to all of you, because you are really wonderful. We do have a schedule as far as Polly Rolfe, are you there? She's hiding, stand up. Well, you can almost see her, she's really standing up. That's Polly Rolfe, and she does our scheduling for everybody. And she's been doing a fantastic job, but she hasn't met everybody. So I wanted everybody to be able to look at her. So that's who you get to go and complain if your schedule's wrong. I wanted to compliment you all. We've had nothing but praise on the way the Friends Bookstore and the library is run, and as far as how everything looks. You've done so much. It just looks beautiful. Our Friends Room is fantastic. You go into a lot of other libraries that have the same space as you do, but you still can't find anything. It's laid out so well and kept up and organized, and it's thanks to all of you that works. And as far as all the money that comes into the library, and our community is very happy with all the wonderful things that you give, and it's your time and your effort that really makes all this possible. So I salute you, and I want to tell you thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I better tell you before they grab all those placemats. There's one on each table that's marked that wins that basket. Well, don't take them yet, because we need them for decoration.
The table mat.
Do you remember where you put them in the back? You picked up some back there already. Okay, I know how to solve that. Last year, we had the oldest lady at the table, or man, women. So if they took your mats, you'll have to fess up. The oldest one can take it. I also want to thank Sharon and her folks who made out these volunteer recognition award certificates. I think it's beautiful. We have lots of helpers here of the various committees on the board, but I don't want to go through all of them and take up your time. But we do say thank you to all the board members and all the helpers and all the volunteers. Thank you very much. Muriel, do you want to introduce the entertainment?
No, I don't either.
By the way, if you don't reuse your basket, keep all the insides and bring it to the Friends Room, because we will reuse it for either the garden club, and by the way, all these roses came from the Rose Garden out here that is sponsored by our Leisure World Garden Club. They allow us to use them for our functions. So if you do not use it or need it, don't throw it away. Bring it to the Friends Room and we'll reuse it. Thank you.
Enjoy Brush Up Your Shakespeare with Dorothy Parker and Alex Brett with accompanist Karen Hoffman.
Should we tell them?
I think so.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Girls today in society go for classical poetry
To win their hearts you must walk with ease. The lesson you read by these.
One must know Homer,
Beneath
both,
soft and please also sad for home.
unless you know Shelley and Keats and Pope. Dainty Debbie's will call you a dope,
But the poet of them all, who
but Sergeant Simply Raven is a poet people call.
the bard of Shepherd Lincoln. Rush up
Your Shakespeare, start quoting him now.
To be or not to be?
Is that the question?
That is the question.
Brush up your Shakespeare, and the women you will want.
Just be coming out through lines from a fella, and she'll think you're a hell of a fella.
And if your blonde will respond when you flatter her, tell her what Tony told Cleopatra.
If she fights when her clothes you are fussing,
What are clothes much ado about
nothing.
Brush up your Shakespeare,
And they'll all kowtow.
brush up your Shakespeare, start quoting him now. Alas, poor Yorick,
Did you know him?
I knew him well. Brush up your Shakespeare,
And the
women you will wow.
better mention the merchant of Venice. If her sweet pound of flesh you would menace.
If her virtue at first she defends well, just remind her that all's well that ends well.
If still she won't give you a bonus, you know what Venus
brush up your Shakespeare, and we'll all come.
Ben Jonson was a contemporary and friend of William Shakespeare. His fame rests greatly on the dramatic entertainment called masks, or masquerades, that he wrote and composed for the royal court, becoming poet laureate in 1619 under Charles I. Jonson has genuine lyrical power, as heard in his short poems and the songs appearing in his masques. One such song is still popular today. Drink to me only with thine eyes, sung by Flo Ehlers. Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will with mine. Only the kiss within the cup, and I will not ask for wine. The thirst of loneliness soul doth rise, doth ask for drink divine. But my child, don't make us say, I would not change or die. I sense they lead a rosy race, not so much unreal need, as giving it a hope not far, it could not will and be. Although the stormy breeze and sends them back to me, since when it grows and smears and swallow, not on itself, but rain.
Ben Jonson, spanning 3 centuries and still in the classical vein, but in prose's time, is a monologue from a play by Peter Schaffer, composers Amadeus Mozart and Antonio Salieri, 18th century composers, never met in real life. But Schaffer conjured up a meeting between the 2 arch rivals. In this monologue, Salieri, a merely competent composer, cannot forgive God for placing genius in the infantile Mozart. Here is Jim Burns' interpretation of Amadeus.
Capisco, I know my fate. Now, for the first time, I feel my emptiness as Adam felt his nakedness. Tonight at an inn, somewhere in the city, stands a giggling child who can put on paper
without actually setting down his billiard cue, casual notes which turn my most considered ones into lifeless scratches. Grazie, signore. You gave me the desire to praise you, which most do not feel, then made me mute. Grazie tanti. You put into me perception of the incomparable, which most men never know, then ensured that I would know myself forever mediocre. Why? What is my fault? Until this day, I have pursued virtue with rigor. I have labored long hours to relieve my fellow men. I have worked and worked the talent that you allowed me. You know how hard I've worked, solely that in the end, in the practice of the art, which alone makes the world comprehensible to me, I might hear your voice. And now I do hear it. And it says only one name, Mozart. Spiteful, sniggering, conceited, infantile Mozart, who has never worked 1 minute to help another man. Shit-talking Mozart with his body-smacking wife. Him you have chosen to be your sole conduct. And my only reward, my supreme privilege, is to be the sole witness at this time who shall clearly recognize your incarnation. Grazie e grazie ancora. So be it. From this time we are enemies, you and I. I'll not accept it from you. Do you hear? They say God is not mocked. I tell you, man is not mocked. I am not mocked. They say the Spirit bloweth where it listeth. I tell you, no. It must list to virtue or not blow at all. Dio inguisto, you are the enemy. I name thee now, nemico eterno. And this I swear, to my last breath I shall block you on earth whenever I am able. What use, after all, is man, if not to teach God his lessons?
He studied and translated Greek. He probably knew this song in the original Greek as a drinking song and very freely translated it into a love song. Here is Flo Ehlers to recite Love's Philosophy.
The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in this world is single. All things by a law divine in one spirit mix and mingle. Why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. And the sunbeams clasp the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all the sweet work worth if thou kiss not me?
How poignant these same words sound when put in a vocal setting by composer Roger Quilter. Listen to the same poem as sung by Evelyn Dunn.
Forever, we will sing.
Another century closes, and we come to a more current time. Still in a romantic vein is the poignant monologue expressed by Alex Brett in Valentine's Day by Horton Foote. A young Texan, 27-year-old Horace, tells his wife how much he loves her.
When I was 9, I had some chickens that I raised as pets. They were the only pets I ever had, and they followed me around like a dog follows his master. They would eat out of my hand. I fed them, and Mama had a boarding house then. On Christmas, on my 9th year, she had no money to feed her boarders. She went out in the back, and without telling me, she killed my chickens. I had a raging fever for a week. They despaired from my life. Mama says the illness was never diagnosed. When I see her now, she's all smiles and honey. She doesn't know the pain and the bitterness and the unhappiness that she caused me. Sometimes when I'm around her, I have to walk out of the room to keep from telling her, I'm no orphan, but I think of myself as an orphan, belonging to no one but you. I intend to have everything I didn't have before. A house of my own, some land, a yard. In that yard I'm going to plant growing things, fruitful things, fig trees and pecans, and pear trees and peach trees. And I will have a garden and chickens. And I do believe I might not have these things because you married me. I said to myself before our marriage, she'll never marry you. No matter how much she says she loves you, because her father will stop it. He's a powerful man, and he will prevail, as he does in all ways. But he didn't stop us. You did marry me. And I tell you, I've begun to know happiness for the first time in my life. I adore you. I worship you. And I thank you for marrying me. Here at Leisure World, and I hope this is correct, here at Leisure World we have many talented writers and poets who have published their creations and won awards. One such is Howard Rolfe, a much published author and poet. We are proud to present his poem, Prometheus Unbound, as read by Jim Byrne.
As I cruise in my As I cruise in my cab, I'm a freeway man on my way to a business affair. I'm in my glory, a Promethean, confident and debonair. The situation is made to order, driving the freeway alone. On the seat beside me, a mini recorder, in my hand, a microphone. The hearing aid is in my ear, a mini calculator in my pocket. I'm both driver and engineer, tuned to what's on the dart. My glasses have been newly ground. Sunglasses shade my eyes. My teeth are capped in a compromise to avoid having them crowned. I'm a mechanical man run on batteries, the kind my gadgets employs, a man who looks the very antithesis of a boy who plays with toys. So here I sit in an electronic fit, talking into my recorder, words and rhymes to transmit, ideas to embroider. Except for family and friends of mine who know me for what I am, I'm accepted as gentle, kind and benign, an intellectual stereogram. I'm not at all the way I seem. Isn't it the same with you? The part of yourself you hold supreme is mostly not in view. So give me my cad on the freeway at 9, surrounded by my toys. The flow of my thoughts and the motor's whine are among my fondest joys. Although aging is on the run, it might be said, if it's understood, I still feel alive at 81, enjoying my second childhood. Second time lucky, maybe. Who doesn't enjoy a bit of laughter? Mike Mancini as a hired hand, and Cece Fairman, the lady farmer, are having a conversation. She has just returned from a business trip to the big city and is eager for news back home. Her hired hand tries to satisfy her request as they head home. Here is no news of why the dog died.
I've been away for a month. I'm just dying for some news about home. Anything exciting happened while I was gone?
No, ma'am. Ain't nothing happened while you was gone. There ain't no news.
Just any little thing would be interesting.
No, ma'am, ain't no news. Well, there's one little thing while you was away. Your dog died.
My dog, Red, died? What caused him to die?
Well, ma'am, the dog, he went and ate some burnt horse flesh. And that's what killed the dog.
Where in the world did he get some burnt horse flesh?
Well, ma'am, that's another little thing. While you was away, your barn burnt down. Burnt up all the cows, burnt up all the horses, and when the fire cooled off, the dog, he went and ate some burnt horse flesh, and that's what killed the dog.
What caused the barn to burn down?
Oh, that's another little thing, ma'am. It was from the spark of the fire that burnt your house down.
My house? My beautiful house burned down?
Yes, ma'am, it burnt down all right. All the way to the ground.
What caused the fire in the first place?
Well, ma'am, that's another little thing. It was the candles on the coffin. The wind blew the curtain under the candles on the coffin, catching your house on fire.
Coffin?
Yes, ma'am.
Who died?
Well, ma'am, that's another little thing. Your mother-in-law died.
Oh.
wind blew the curtains under the candles on the coffin, catching the house on fire. Flew over to the barn and burnt the barn down, burnt up all the horses and all the cows. And when the fire cooled off, the dog, he went and ate some burnt horse flesh. That's what killed the dog.
My mother-in-law died.
Oh, yes, ma'am. She's dead, all right. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, what caused my mother-in-law to die?
Well, ma'am, that's another little thing.
Oh,
They say that it was the shock of your husband running off with the housekeeper. But ma'am, ain't nothing important happened. There ain't no news except the dog died. Ma'am, is you all right, ma'am?
oh.
Darlings, I want to tell you about the most awful morning that I had, darlings. I got up late this morning, late even for me, but of course I looked at the calendar, it was still February, so I knew I was fine. And then I don't know why I stayed home alone today without any books from the library. I just had my crocheting. And then I got hungry. I rang for my name. I rang and rang and rang. And then I remembered my maid had gone to the unemployment office for a new chauffeur. I never thought there was anything wrong with her old chauffeur. Well, I certainly needed food. And I looked at my dresser, and there was a note, darlings, from my maid. Dear Miss Bankhead, I've been with you for several weeks. I know all about you, and I'm going on a lecture tour. That ungrateful girl. And to think I sold her one of my books at Hostale. Well, what shall I do for food? I know. I'll go into the kitchen and make myself some food, darlings. Oh, where did that girl put the kitchen? Oh, there it is. I thought it was a closet. Oh, with a counter here, refrigerator, and stove, and a darling little baby's box. It's just like having my own restaurant. Oh, this is so exciting. And you remember my old pictures on the counter when I sang, I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places. This heart of mine embraces. Well, that was easy. Now, darling, I'll have to get some food. Peas, carrots, string beans. That girl ruined them all. They're frozen. And this chicken, it must have wandered in here and died. I'm going to have to bury it in the morning. Oh, dear. Tomato juice, one of my favorites. But it's all locked up. Oh, dear. Pineapple. Pineapple juice. I love pineapple juice in the morning. How did Rosie squeeze this every morning for me? She must have had the strength that I don't have. Oh, dear, what shall I have? Hot tea. I know I'll have some hot tea. There's no hot water. An egg. I'll just make a scrambled egg. Oh, I hope it has bacon in it. Oh, excuse me, darling. That's the door. Yes? You have vacuum cleaners? Sorry, we don't have any vacuums to clean. Oh, you mean the vacuums clean furniture, draperies,
And the carpet? Oh, silly boy. We have a maid to do that. Oh, you have an incentive. Well, if the incentive is good enough, you have a sale. An encyclopedia that tells everything about life. Plagiarist. That's all in my book. Oh, I'm so hungry. What shall I have? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think I'll have some toast. That is it, toast. But that girl bought only white bread. Oh, toast, that silly girl. Oh dear, I wonder what I can have. Oh, excuse me, darling, there's the phone. Hello? Yes, this is the Bankhead residence. What do you mean, is this the man of the house? Who is this? Oh, Max. Max the butcher. Oh, how wonderful, darling. You're calling me about my meat order? Oh, how delightful. I'll have a well-done steak, béarnaise sauce, au gratin potatoes, and a little salad on the side. What do you mean you only sell raw meat? This is Tallulah, not Tarzan. Well, oh, I dropped the egg. Oh dear, I'll have to sell my house. Oh, it's so messy. Oh, what will I do? Oh dear, I'm so starving. I know. I'll have a piece of bread, and I'll take some cold water. Why, this is delicious! And they said I couldn't cook. Goodbye, darling. The dog died? I don't.
Nursery rhymes have been very much part of our literature and music. Many composers have used their skills to compose settings to song. In the 1920s, Sigmund Stath composed the delightful work, The Musical Adventures of Jack and Jill, which first appeared as part of a book entitled Words and Music. The work is satirical, but is based on an understanding of the different forms of musical composition and style of the great composers. One needs to appreciate the humor and gentle spoofing of what is to follow. Do recall the words of this nursery rhyme? Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down, broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Very graphic, isn't it? One can vividly see the action of the oratorio version sung by Jane Whitsick.
Followers of false cause, I come to tell a solemn story of two young mortals that rose to heights and were cast down again. Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack
a single pattern, the accompaniment repeated over and over, just with a change of key. To demonstrate, here is Renee Thomas. For those familiar with opera, the opening measures of the next version will remind you of the sextet of Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor, complete with cadenza and flute-like accompaniment. Here is the Italian operatic version as sung by Evelyn Diamond.
Giovanni fell down and broke his corona. Giovanni fell down and broke his corona. Giovanni fell down and broke his corona. Egeria.
Wagner would have his heroes striding ever forward against all odds, but their loyal Brunhildes beside them. When the heroes fall, so do the women. Jack's four-tone motif begins, the Wagnerian version sung by Flo Keller. The next version gives us a languorous, impressionistic, very plaintive musical style a la Debussy. Here to sing the modern French version is Dorothy Parker. Now, how can any musical style discussion be complete without an up-to-date American version? For our final version, the cast will join in singing the jazz blues version.
Jack and Jill wanna buy something with off by you to fetch a pail of water. I said water, yes water. Jack fell down and broke. I said he broke his bone, and Jill came tumbling after, just after. Early in the morning, in the afternoon, falling into supper, twilight falling soon. Everybody's falling, nothing to choose, because we got those doggone falling Jack and Jill blues. Oh, falling in the morning, in the afternoon, falling into supper, twilight falling soon. Everybody's falling, nothing to choose, because we got those doggone falling Jack and Jill
And there you have it, folks. The end.
That is the end of our program. Thank you for your reception.
Thank you.
I like the Jack and Jill the best, so let's all go home. God bless you.